Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters. You didn't click on this video by chance, and no, this is not just another motivational message. The fact that you're hearing this right now means something is stirring inside of you. Something you may have tried to silence, ignore, or explain away. But it keeps coming back, doesn't it? The deep feeling that you're missing something. That nagging thought that time is slipping and your soul is drifting further from where it's meant to be. You're already late. And that's not to scare you, that's to awaken you. Because while you've been thinking tomorrow is guaranteed, something greater has been unfolding around you. You've been distracted by everything the world throws at you. Comfort, chaos, routine, even the idea that you'll come back to Allah eventually. But let's be honest. How many eventualities have you already used? The truth is, the delay you've allowed has already cost you things you can't see. Doors that could have opened, prayers that could have been answered, calm that could have settled your chest a long time ago. But instead, your soul's been stuck in buffering mode, not moving backward, not moving forward, just still. Waiting for you to notice the signal. But let me say this clearly. Your presence here is a sign that Allah has not closed your file. He hasn't abandoned your heart. He hasn't turned away from your name. On the contrary, He's still sending reminders to pull you back. And this video, it's one of them. It's not here to decorate your playlist. It's here to disrupt it. You've watched so many videos before this one. Some helpful, others hollow. But this is the one that demands your attention because it's calling your spirit, not just your ears. And you know deep down, this isn't random. You know you've been off track, you've felt the emptiness, even when life looks full on the outside. That quiet ache at night, when everything slows down, and you realize you don't feel close to your Lord anymore. Or maybe you never did, and yet you're here, watching, listening, breathing, which means you're still in the story. You're still being given the chance that billions of souls don't have anymore. You have time, maybe not much, maybe more than you think, but you have it. And what you do with it next will shape the rest of your journey. Not just in this world, but in the one that never ends. This is your wake-up call, not because you're lost, but because you're chosen. Allah doesn't whisper to every heart the way He whispers to yours. He doesn't knock at every door this way. So ask yourself, how many more signs do you need before you respond? Stay with me. Don't scroll. Don't switch tabs. Your soul has waited too long for this moment, and you owe it more than silence. And as a promise to you, if you stay with me until the end of this video, I'll make a sincere prayer just for you. A prayer that could change the weight of your heart and the direction of your path. Don't miss that moment. You've already delayed too many. You know what's strange? Most people don't turn away from Allah because they hate Him. They drift because they're distracted. It's not always rebellion. Sometimes it's routine. Sometimes it's comfort. And that's exactly how people lose the most precious part of themselves. Not through big dramatic moments, but through a slow fade they never even saw coming. Let's be honest. The world doesn't need to tempt you with evil to pull you away from Allah. All it needs is to keep you busy. Busy scrolling, busy chasing, busy pretending everything's fine. And little by little, the soul starts shrinking. Not because it's been crushed, but because it's been forgotten. It starts with small things. One missed prayer, one ignored feeling, one delay in saying, I'll fix myself soon. And then you wake up, and your heart feels heavier, colder, less moved by the things that used to matter. You start watching reminders, but they don't hit. You start hearing about death,
but you don't flinch. That's not because you're evil, that's because your heart has been drowning, slowly, in noise. It's crazy, isn't it? You can hear 100 voices in one day, but not one of them is your own soul asking, where are we going? Today's world is designed to make you spiritually numb. You're taught to respond to vibrations, notifications, lights, alerts, but not silence. You're programmed to open apps instantly, but not your heart. You're trained to check your screen every 2 minutes, but not check your soul even once a week. And the scariest part? You call it normal. The problem isn't that you sin, everyone does. The problem is that you sin, and you feel nothing. That's when you should worry. That's when it's not just your habits that are in danger, it's your identity. Because deep down, your soul knows it wasn't made for this. It wasn't created to binge watch its own decay. It was built for something far greater, far more eternal. And here's the trap. The enemy of your soul doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs to distract you. He doesn't scream, turn away from Allah. He whispers, you can turn back tomorrow. And you believe him. Again, and again, and again. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about it. If this was the last video your soul ever had time to absorb, would you still skip it? Would you still click away to something easier, lighter, funnier? Or would you finally sit with the weight you've been avoiding? Because this moment, is your test. And it's not loud, it's not flashing, it's quiet, almost too quiet. But that's how most divine opportunities show up. They don't beg, they wait. They watch if you notice. And if you don't, life just keeps moving. But your heart doesn't. It gets stuck in this spiritual traffic jam, unable to go forward, unable to turn back, just existing without truly living. That's not peace. That's paralysis. So let me give you this truth, raw and unfiltered. You can't keep feeding your soul with emptiness and expect it to glow. You can't surround your mind with content that numbs, dulls, distracts, and still wonder why your dua feels dry, why your motivation is dead, why your dreams don't feel sacred anymore. This world is loud, but your soul speaks in whispers. If you never slow down, you'll never hear what it's trying to say. And it's been saying the same thing for a while now. Please come home. And just so you know, this video isn't here to entertain your brain. It's here to resuscitate your spirit. You've entertained your distractions long enough. Now it's time to entertain the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it feels. You were made for more than endless content. You were made for connection with your Creator, with your mission, with your akhirah. Stay with me. It only gets deeper from here. Let's cut through the noise for a moment. That feeling you keep brushing off, the unease, the guilt, the strange emptiness at the end of a normal day. It's not random. It's not your mind overthinking. It's not stress. It's not some emotional phase. That is your soul trying to get your attention. You've been ignoring a call, not from your phone, but from your Creator. And this call doesn't come with a ringtone. It comes with silence that gets louder the more you try to drown it. It shows up when you're alone, when you turn off the lights, when your friends leave and your phone dies, and suddenly it's just you and the ache you can't explain. You've been searching for answers on screens when your soul has been whispering the question all along. When will you come back to what actually matters? Look back at your recent days. How many moments did you truly feel alive? Not just functioning, not just performing, but really alive. If you're honest, those moments have been rare. And it's not because life is broken. It's because you've been ignoring the most important part of your being, the part that connects you to purpose, to peace, to Allah. The signs have been there for a while. That random video that made you tear up. That quote that hit too hard. That feeling of distance, like something inside you is slipping, but you can't name it. That's not random. That's divine mercy, sent to wake you before you drift too far. You felt it, haven't you? That heaviness in your chest when you sin. That moment of pause when your heart knows this isn't who you are. That's not weakness. That's your soul refusing to die quietly. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't reject Allah with their words. They reject Him with their delay, with their excuses, with their silence. And slowly, that silence turns into separation. And separation turns into forgetfulness. And then one day, you wake up and realize you don't even recognize yourself anymore. But Allah does. Even now, even after all the silence, even after all the distance, He still sees you, still hears you, still knows every breath you take, and He's still calling. The pain you've been carrying isn't there to crush you. It's there to crack open the layers you've built to protect yourself from feeling. Because when your heart breaks, it finally has room to let the light back in. Sometimes, losing your grip on everything is exactly what brings you closer to the one who never let go. If you've been feeling lost, numb, or even guilty, know this: guilt is a gift. It means your heart still knows the difference between right and wrong. It means you haven't been fully drowned. It means Allah is still giving you a chance to return. And the longer you avoid that return, the longer you'll feel that quiet ache that never leaves. Let's ask something real right now. How many more nights do you need to feel disconnected before you finally respond to the pull in your chest? You're not tired because you're busy. You're tired because you're spiritually starving. And no vacation, no nap, no distraction can fix that. Only one thing can. And you already know what it is. It's not too late. It only feels heavy because it's been building for so long. The second you choose to respond, even silently, everything can start shifting. The healing doesn't start with big changes. It starts with one honest moment between you and your Lord. One moment where you say, "I've been away, but I want to come back." This isn't just about a video. It's about a voice that's been calling you home for years. And this time, you finally heard it. Stay close. What's coming next may explain why your heart has always felt different. You've spent so long thinking you're behind. But what if you've just been chosen to walk a harder road? You're not here because you're ordinary. People who are spiritually asleep don't seek meaning. They don't feel guilt. They don't pause on a video like this, especially when they could be watching something easier. But you feel. You notice. And no matter how far you've strayed, a part of you keeps looking back over your shoulder, wondering if the door is still open. Let me tell you something that might just shift everything. You wouldn't feel this pull if you weren't chosen. Allah doesn't randomly awaken hearts. He doesn't send repeated signs to the ones He's forgotten. And He definitely doesn't leave reminders for those who've been rejected. The fact that you're watching this, feeling this, hearing this, it's not weakness. It's evidence. Evidence that you're one of the few who are still spiritually alive in a world that's grown cold. Chosen ones aren't loud. They're not always confident. They usually don't even realize they're chosen, because their life often feels heavier. Their emotions feel deeper. They're the ones who cry silently at night, who feel a strange sadness in crowds, who long for a peace they can't describe. And that longing, that pain, that restlessness, it's not a curse. It's a calling. It's a calling from the one who made you sensitive for a reason. who placed in your chest a heart that refuses to accept fake joy. A heart that doesn't just want pleasure, it wants purpose. A soul that aches when distant from its creator, no matter how good life looks on the surface. You're not broken, you're just aware. And that awareness is rare. Maybe that's why certain things don't satisfy you anymore. Why conversations feel shallow. Why goals that used to excite you now feel empty. Why entertainment no longer distracts you the way it used to. That's not boredom. That's your soul evolving. It's trying to tell you, we're not made for this. We were made for something deeper. And here's the irony. Most people think being chosen means you'll feel strong, confident, special. But in reality, it often feels like being confused, isolated, misunderstood. Because while the world plays games, you're out here trying to hear your Lord's voice in the quiet. Let's pause for a second and reflect. If you weren't chosen, why would you feel guilty when you sin? Why would you still be chasing clarity when most people are satisfied with distractions? Why would you still feel like something's missing, even when your life looks fine? Chosen ones aren't picked because they're perfect. They're picked because they're real, because they struggle, but they don't quit. Because they fall, but they feel it. Because they delay, but they don't deny. Because even with all their chaos, they still believe there's a door back to Allah. And they haven't stopped knocking. And sometimes, being chosen means being slowed down. It means Allah blocked things from happening, not to punish you, but to pause you, to protect you, to purify you before He opens the next chapter. Maybe you've been thinking He forgot you, but maybe He's just been preparing you while the rest of the world rushes ahead without direction. Every longing you've had for clarity, every private tear you've shed when no one was watching, every moment you almost gave up, it's all been recorded. And not a single ounce of that was wasted. Because chosen ones don't just live, they awaken. And awakening is messy, painful, uncomfortable, but ultimately divine. You're not here because your story is over. You're here because the next page is waiting for your attention. What if everything you've experienced so far was just preparation for what you were actually born to become? You keep telling yourself you'll get serious tomorrow, that you'll start praying properly soon, that your heart will wake up when things calm down, when you feel ready, when you're less tired. But here's a truth most people ignore. The idea of later is the most dangerous lie you'll ever believe. Because later isn't neutral, it's lethal. While you wait for the perfect moment, your soul continues to shrink. Your heart continues to harden. And the more you delay, the more numb you become. Not suddenly, but slowly, gently, in a way you barely notice. That's how most people lose their connection with Allah. Not by saying, I don't believe, but by constantly saying, not now. Not now turns into next week. Next week turns into next year. And before you know it, your soul has forgotten what it feels like to be alive. Think about it. How many times have you promised change, but stayed the same? How many reminders have you ignored, hoping life would shake you in a more dramatic way? But maybe that's the problem. You're waiting for something to break you when all you need is one honest moment of surrender. And let's be real, comfort is a trap. It makes you believe that being not too bad is enough, that as long as you're not the worst, you're okay. But that's not how the soul works. Your soul doesn't compare itself to others. It either feels full or it feels empty. And right now, deep down, you know you've been running on empty for a while. And here's something you need to hear. Every delay you choose isn't just costing you time. It's costing you light. The light that could have guided you. The peace that could have calmed you. The clarity that could have healed you. Every day, you push back your return. You're saying no to the very thing that was designed to save you. You're not waiting for the right moment. You're just avoiding the right decision. And here's the question you need to ask yourself now. How many more days are you willing to lose in the name of comfort? Because every minute spent disconnected is a minute that could have been spent in nearness, in growth, in truth. You don't need to be perfect to return. You just need to stop running. It's easy to believe that you've missed your chance, that after all the wrong turns, all the wasted time, and all the things you didn't fix, Allah has closed the door. But that's not who He is. That's not how He treats the ones He still wants to bring home. The fact that you're still breathing, still watching this, still feeling that tug in your heart, that's proof that He hasn't finished writing your story yet. He's still calling you by name. You don't need a perfect past to make a powerful return. You just need one moment of sincerity, one honest pause where you say, I want to try again. And that's enough for the most merciful to shift everything in your favor. He's not disappointed in your delays. He's waiting to see your decision. He hasn't rejected you. He's refining you. He hasn't erased your name. He's been protecting it, holding it, waiting to hear it called out in dua again. Maybe the silence you've been hearing isn't abandonment. Maybe it's space. Space to finally choose Him without pressure, without panic, without being forced. Just because your heart finally realized nothing else works, you're not too late. You're just on time. If you start now, you've made it to this point. Not because you were strong, but because your soul refused to give up. You could have scrolled past, you could have shut it all down. But something deep inside you stayed. Something whispered, don't leave yet. And you listened. That alone says more about you than all your mistakes combined. So before we part ways, take a breath. Let go of the weight. Let go of the guilt. You're not alone. You're not beyond repair. You're not forgotten. You're chosen, still. Now let me fulfill my promise to you. A prayer, not just from my lips, but from the space your heart has been aching for. O Allah, the turner of hearts, turn their heart back to you with gentleness and mercy. Replace their heaviness with peace, their confusion with clarity, their regret with redemption. Wrap them in your light when the world goes dark. Give them the strength to choose you again and again, even when it's hard. And when they forget themselves, remind them that you never forget. You're not finished. You're just beginning. And Allah is still waiting at the door, not to punish you, but to embrace you.